Infamous meltdowns caught on camera. Here's the best, worst live interviews that showed celebrities absolutely losing it. Charlie Sheen. In a rather strange interview with ABC in February of 2011 that left almost everyone saying, "What did I just witness?" His career took another dip after the Hollywood star gave a string of bizarre answers defending his past indulgence with illegal substances and parties. The actor, who was interviewed by ABC's Andrea Canning, spent a good chunk of time blasting Two and a Half Men creator Chuck Lorre, and to note, at the time, Sheen had been fired from his starring role in the show after a series of bizarre incidents, including a wild night in Las Vegas and a trip to the hospital's psychiatric ward, and also a series of just erratic and often incoherent public statements. So during this interview, he could be heard calling Lorre a turd and a clown, presumably, for firing him. He also said the producers of the show ripped him off, and he famously proclaimed he was not bipolar, but instead bi-winning. That one sentence would go on to actually be one of the most iconic quotes of our time, with people to this day referencing it and using it, for memes alike. Now, the internet went wild as one of Hollywood's most, polarizing celebrities experienced a rather public meltdown. During the interview with Canning, Charlie Sheen explains that he has tiger blood, and when she asked, the last time he used, he said, "I don't use. I use a blender, I use a vacuum cleaner," but ultimately said, he can't really remember the last time he used illegal substances. Canning later inquires about Sheen's relentless partying, and Sheen actually suggests that he makes Frank Sinatra and Keith Richards look like droopy-eyed, armless children, whatever that is supposed to mean. Now, from beginning to end, Sheen seems to, celebrate his obvious meltdown, leading many to fear for his physical and psychological health. Despite, the controversy surrounding this interview, it actually remains a very fascinating and slightly disturbing glimpse into the mind of a troubled celebrity at the height of a meltdown. You would assume that this very public meltdown would have destroyed him and the show Two and a Half Men, but nope, it actually did the opposite. The next airing of the show, and I'll note it was a rerun, had the most ratings in its history and was the most watched show on television that night. So if that doesn't prove how much people have a hot mess, I don't know what will. Next up, Tom Cruise. In 2005, this American actor sat down with NBC's Matt Lauer to discuss War of the Worlds and his life in general. Now, Tom Cruise was all smiles talking about his movie, but the smile disappeared when Matt Lauer mentioned Cruise's earlier criticism of Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants. Now, the interview was tense and became a very strong pop culture moment. Now, the interview covered topics like Scientology, fame, and the merits of pharmaceutical, substances. Now, future wife Katie Holmes was all smiles, and Tom Cruise seems genuinely content, but when Lauer begins prying into his personal life and Scientology, the drama then begins. When speaking about, psychiatry, Tom takes a patronizing tone and his facial expression just changes drastically. Cruise said, he didn't agree with psychiatry and that problems could be cured through vitamins and exercise. Cruise and Lauer debated the merits of pharmaceutical substances. He criticized Lauer for advocating the use of Ritalin and said he didn't believe in psychiatry. Tom also said there is no such thing as a chemical imbalance. Cruise got very serious and kept saying Matt, Matt, Matt every time Lauer said he knew people who were helped by antidepressants. Now, Lauer pushes back and so does Tom, but only one of them appears to be, visually mad. Cruise insisted that he wanted to keep his relationship with Katie Holmes out of the spotlight. However, Lauer asked Cruise if his engagement to Holmes was a publicity stunt for War of the Worlds, which of course was met with a very frustrated Cruise saying, "You know what? There's always cynics. There always has been, there always will be. I have never worried about what other people think and what other people say." By the end, Cruise, essentially slaps Lauer on the wrist for challenging him, all the while pointing, his finger and melting down like only he can. Lauer called the interview his most awkward interview ever. Chris Brown is up. In 2011, this pop star's Good Morning America appearance began with a smile, but he ultimately left angry and actually shirtless. Now, this interview itself is brief, with Robin Roberts focusing mostly on Brown's past and public image rather than his new album. On camera, Brown stays focused and even performs performs a song, but backstage, however, allegedly he burst into like a violent rage as he reportedly threw a cooler and broke a dressing room window. Now, things went sour when Roberts began the conversation by asking about Rihanna. Although Brown, tried to divert the questions to focus on Fame, which was his new album, Roberts continued to drill him about his troubled past, which clearly did not sit well with Brown. He said to Roberts, "I've been focusing on this album. I think this album is what I want people to hear and want people to really get into." He said that while attempting to redirect the interview. He then added, "Definitely this album is what I want to talk about and not what happened 2 years ago." This interview came actually 2 years after pleading guilty to charges, and Chris Brown was clearly not pleased that his past kept catching up with him. Brown didn't appreciate Robin Roberts, prying about his situation with Rihanna and all the hate that he got. So cue the meltdown and backstage hysterics. Now, Brown stormed backstage after the interview. He smashed a window with a chair, causing it to shatter and for the shards of glass to fall on the sidewalk of 43rd Street and Broadway. Security was reportedly called to the scene, but by the time they actually arrived, a very shirtless Brown was headed out the door. Shortly after the incident, Brown took to Twitter and wrote, "I'm so over people bringing up the past, yet we praise, Charlie Sheen and other celebs for their BS." He has since deleted that post, of course, followed with a series of tweets that, like his album, are dedicated to his fans. He posted one that said, "All my fans, this album is for you and only you. I'm so tired of everyone else. I love Team Breezy." And honestly, to this day, people talk about this interview, but as far as fans are concerned, what's done is done. Kanye West, you knew he was coming. Over the years, this musical artist has given us numerous meltdown moments to choose from, but perhaps the most bizarre one came in 2013 on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Now, Kanye West was already upset because of a previous skit, and he used the ABC platform to have a man-to-man discussion about ego, the fashion world, and his public image. It's a revealing interview that gives us insight into how Kanye sees himself, but it's also an absolute train wreck, especially when Yeezy compares himself to Jesus himself and reminds everybody once again that he's like a creative genius. The interview actually spanned over 20 minutes where he basically just talked to and about himself. Now, funny enough, it was this particular, interview that ended a feud that he had with the late night host. They actually made peace, and many people did say it was surprisingly sincere, and their discussion about the pressures of being a celebrity was eye-opening. Now, their original feud started when Kimmel debuted a sketch actually on his show in which children kind of reenacted an interview West gave to BBC Radio 1's Zane Lowe. West had then responded to the sketch by going on a Twitter rant against Kimmel and calling him to demand a public apology. When Kanye came on for this interview, Kimmel admitted that he'd only watched a little bit of the BBC, radio interview when they did that, and he said that he mostly did that sketch because he finds it funny to see kids curse. West said he poured his frustrations from years of tabloid press into his Twitter tirade against Kimmel because he did not personally, know members of the media who write bad headlines about him, but he knew Kimmel and had previously been friendly with him. West said, "This is one person I know, so I can go and let out everything that I feel about every single bogus weekly cover, every single bogus skit, every person who feels like it's okay to treat celebrities like zoo animals." Kimmel acknowledged that he has also felt like a zoo animal under media scrutiny, but wondered if West brings some of the backlash on himself. He said, "A lot of people think you are a jerk. I often in my own personal conversation say, no, I know this guy, he is not a jerk." As evidence, Kimmel actually then showed to the audience a picture of West smiling with the TV host's, father at a wedding, and recounted actually how nice the rapper was to everyone there. So, although many people watched what seemed like kind of a public meltdown on live TV, it would actually turn out that this one, created some peace and harmony between the two, which would lead to Kanye being a guest several more times over the years. Quentin Tarantino is next on my list. Now, Krishnan Guru Murthy of England's Channel 4 received a big surprise when this Django Unchained director shunned his questions about violence. It's no secret that, Tarantino has made some of the bloodiest films of the past 25 years, but in this interview, he gets heated up when asked about the real life implications. When the interviewer chuckles, Tarantino lights him up with a verbal attack. Between, his overall body language and the daggers in his eyes, it's clear that Tarantino is absolutely serious. Now, Quentin started the interview with a very cool demeanor, but the Tarantino train sure, derailed quite quickly. Now, Tarantino faced a series of questions about Django Unchained Shane's depiction of slavery and his frustration kind of spilled over in this early 2013 interview. Now, Django Unchained charts, the fortunes of a black slave turned bounty hunter in the American Deep South. Tarantino admitted that he relished making violent films, but insisted it's a movie, it's a fantasy, it's not real life. When asked how he could be sure that there was no link between, enjoying screen violence and enjoying real violence, the director refused to respond, saying, I'm not answering your question. He said, I'm not your slave, you're not my master, it's none of your business what I think about that. Not long into the interview, he became visibly agitated and defensive, once Krishnan asked him specifically that question about the link between movie violence and real violence. And in my opinion, it is a fair question, but to Tarantino, not so much. He still refused to answer the question, stating that he didn't want to be lectured by him and that, the question was silly and boring. Now, the interview became super heated, with Tarantino telling Krishnan that he was being shoddy and dishonest in his line of questioning. Tarantino insisted that he had discussed this issue on numerous occasions, stretching all the way back to his, 1992 debut Reservoir Dogs. He said, the reason I don't want to talk about it is because I've already talked about it. I'm already on the record. I have explained this many, many times in the last 20 years. When asked again why he likes making violent movies, he simply just said because it's good cinema. The interview then ended abruptly, of course. He refused to continue, and he was looking very taken aback by the whole thing. Now, the incident sparked a lot of debate and discussion in the media, with some people defending, Tarantino's right to refuse to answer the question, but others also criticized him for being just overly defensive and aggressive. Well,
now one of the most well-known celebrity restaurant meltdowns has to do with James Corden. In October 2022, he was exposed for being rude and demanding at a restaurant and was temporarily banned from there. In an Instagram post, Keith McNally, the owner of celebrity hotspot Balthazar, explained how James had berated his employees on multiple occasions. Now, one time, he got upset with the restaurant for making a mistake with his wife's order, saying James Corden began yelling like crazy to the server, "You can't do your job, you can't do your job, maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." Now, after this was revealed, everyone then called him out for his behavior, and he eventually addressed this, saying, "The truth is, I have made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment, it was ungracious to the server." Now, fans were upset about hearing how he treated the staff, but it seemed like everything got pushed under the rug pretty quickly. But a Twitter user was quick to remind everyone of the incidents months later, saying, "Guys, remember when James Corden was rude AF to that restaurant for no reason at all this year, and then had the nerve to try to go on TV and pull the victim card? Yeah, I knew James was a POS." Now, will this continue to affect his career? Who knows, but the world finally knows how he really is. Anna Wintour has been described as absolutely horrid and rude to an entire restaurant staff. But I mean, are we really shocked? The Devil Wears Prada was based on her. Now, according to Michael Cicci as Alina, the former maitre d' at New York City's Michelin-starred restaurant Le Coucou, had many run-ins with Anna, and they weren't good. In his book Your Table is Ready, he wrote that Anna tended to march in with no reservation and demand a table, and she'd request a steak very rare to be served immediately. And if it wasn't good for her liking, she would let everyone know. God forbid it was the least bit overcooked, Michael wrote, per the New York Post. She'd look at the server as though he just served her a rat and have it sent back and redone. She'd just walk in or call and say, "I'm coming." One time she came in and we were closing the back room, and she insisted on sitting in the back room, and we had to keep a waiter there to give her her own waiter. Boy, that waitress was pissed, Michael said. Now, Michael then had another poor interaction, this time with Meghan Markle. Now, this is rumored to have happened in 2017. He said that his head reservationist passed him a note about an irate woman who had dropped the "I'm bringing in royalty" card and demanded a private table, something the restaurant could not do. She said, "It's for someone who's dating a prince." He said he replied by saying, "I still don't have a private table for you." He then suggested a corner table instead, and the woman finally agreed. They came in with attitude, Michael said of the duo, showing up 20 minutes before their reservation. After welcoming them to have a drink with the commoners at the bar, the escort allegedly became enraged. "Are you aware my guest is dating Prince Harry and about to be a duchess? Don't you have a private area for us to wait?" they said. So yes, the guest was none other than Meghan Markle. Michael then added, "My first impulse was to laugh. I could give two about Prince Harry's date, and by the attention the escort was drawing from the crowd at the bar, nor did anyone else. Michael then said that Megan didn't say a word, while her handler threw a fit that the table wasn't ready before the reservation time, describing Megan as aloof. Now, in season 4, episode 10 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Scott Disick got cut off from drinking per Kris Jenner's request. Now, Scott did not like this though, and he requested another drink, complained about the server not bringing him his drinks, and even threatened to beat the server. Now, a drunk Scott then got up from the table to confront the waiter and got in his face. After the waiter asked him to stop, Scott tells him to shut his mouth and shoves a $100 bill in the server's mouth. Everyone at the table was shocked, and Scott was escorted out of the restaurant, and it was a crazy moment, and I can't believe that it was caught on camera. On a Reddit thread in the subreddit called Tales from Your Server, one person spoke about their experience with Khloe Kardashian. She was extremely rude and demanding, and I hated it so much, someone said. Another added, I cocktailed for Khloe's table at a banquet, so there wasn't a tab, but she didn't tip. She was just a pain in the butt in almost every way. She never said thank you, or even really acknowledged me, and she wouldn't stop moving long enough for me to place her drink down. She also brushed her arm with a napkin when I accidentally grazed it. It was an awful night. Now, in 2016, it was said by sources that when Khloe doesn't tip, her friends go back after she's left to leave a tip, which is honestly just embarrassing. Now, it seems like being rude like this runs in the family though, because Kendall Jenner has also been accused of mistreating staff. In 2014, Page Six reported that Kendall once left a restaurant without paying her bill after the restaurant refused to serve her alcohol. When the server, Blaine Morris, ran out to ask for money, which was around $60, he claimed that she threw the money at him. Blaine then tweeted, "That horrible moment when you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face." Now, Kendall's attorney denied the claim and said that she was extremely apologetic and that she had politely handed Blaine $33 plus $7 in tips. But someone else has come forward about their experience with Kendall as well. Julia Carlone spoke about how Kendall acted towards her staff in a viral TikTok video. She said, "This is another one where unfortunately I didn't have the best experience with them. She used to come in and was pretty cold to our staff. She also usually has someone speak for her and doesn't speak to staff. I want to say I should give her the benefit of the doubt, but from my experience, she was a 4 out of 10. Then in August 2020, another user, Cindy, posted a series of videos titled "Rating Celebs I've Met Working at LAX." Cindy gave Kendall a 2 out of 10 rating and said, "Every time she flew out, she was not really friendly to anybody and just walked around really arrogant." Now, Usher is worth millions of dollars, but he's repeatedly been accused of being a bad tipper. A waiter one time said he once left an autograph instead of cash. Another server took to Reddit to share a similar experience of waiting on the singer. They said Usher came in and didn't talk directly to me. He had his people, the person he was with, order for him. After the meal, he allegedly didn't tip. But in 2021, Usher got into hot water when he was accused of using fake money to tip dancers at Sapphire Las Vegas Gentlemen's Club. The drama started when a dancer took to Instagram to post a photo of the fake bills with Usher's face on them, Usher bucks, and wrote, "Ladies, what would you do if you danced all night for Usher and he threw this?" Now, the club's director of marketing, Greg Wilson, was quick to frame it as a misunderstanding, saying Usher was a true gentleman and a great guest at the club, adding that the fake bills were dropped by a member of Usher's team to promote his Vegas residency. He clarified he and his crew converted thousands of real dollars to tip the girls dancing on stage. But I'm not too sure if I believe this given his track record. And finally, TikToker Jessica O'Connor alleged that Brittany Mahomes was unpleasant and didn't tip any of the servers when she left the hotel she worked at. Jessica was working as a server, barista, and bartender when Brittany came to the hotel she was working at, and Jessica said, "My first interaction with her, she ran up over a $100 tab. She was with her whole posse. Patrick was not there, but I believe their tab was well over $100, maybe $130, she recalled. $0 tip, she said. She said she let it slide at first because she thought maybe she did something wrong to garner no tip, so she accepted it, but they were there for almost a week, I think, and did not tip a single one of our staff. Not only did she not tip, she was genuinely unpleasant," she added, with many other people telling their unpleasant stories about her as well.
Starting off with Oprah and The Rock, double whammy to get us going. The 2023 wildfires that ravaged the Hawaiian island of Maui shocked and saddened the global community, with 100 casualties reported and thousands displaced, losing homes and businesses along the way, The Rock and Oprah decided to help out. His ill-fated video standing alongside Maui homeowner Oprah Winfrey caused a stir almost instantly after the mega-rich celebrity pair pleaded for the public donations of about $10 million to help rebuild the island. Oprah is worth $2.5 billion, with The Rock, trailing her just at about $800 million. So the public were very quick to point out the pair could easily just donate the $10 million between themselves. In fact, they actually could have each pledged $10 million themselves and still been millionaires and billionaires. And they also would have come across less tone deaf had they asked their rich friends for donations instead of regular folk who live paycheck to paycheck. Blake Lively is next. During the August press tour for It Ends With Us, a movie about ending the cycle of DV, Blake Lively promoted the film with a focus on floral clothing, going so far as saying grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it. The actor also wore florals to a crossover event with the drinks company she founded called Betty Buzz, and she launched a new hair care line during this time. In an interview, Blake was asked the best way that people who see the movie and connect with it can speak with the actor. She jokingly replied saying, asking for my address or my phone number or location share. I could just location share with you. She went on to give a more serious response about women who see red flags and mistake them as fuchsia and cute. Meanwhile, director and star Justin Baldoni's main focus during the press tour was raising awareness of DV. On Instagram, he linked resources like No More, a nonprofit organization dedicated to ending DV. He spoke about the message of the film often, saying, I was always thinking about the outcome and the why, and the one woman I was making this for and who would sit in that theater and maybe not go back to her toxic relationship. So the stark difference between Blake and Justin's promotion of the film sparked a lot of online chatter, with many calling Blake tone deaf, and one social media user wrote, as a DV survivor, I am absolutely disgusted by the cutesy way this film is being promoted, like it's a rom-com, grab your girls and your florals. Another said they were appalled at Blake's initial response to Jake's question and how she turned a deep, very personal, serious question into a joke. Ellen DeGeneres is next. In September, Netflix released Ellen DeGeneres' so-called last stand-up special. The comedian spoke about being kicked out of show business because she was mean, referencing the BuzzFeed News reporting on her talk show's alleged toxic environment. She also talked about going to therapy and how she shouldn't have been the boss in the way that Ronald McDonald shouldn't be the CEO of McDonald's. Now, social media users were less than impressed. One person wrote, it was a pity party for her during the whole special. Some called it self-indulgent, and one user said all she had to do was humbly acknowledge her words and actions hurt more than she realized and promise to learn and grow. That's it. Rather than outright disagree with allegations she was unkind to staff on her show, the comedian says her signature tagline from her talk show, which is be kind to one another, led to unrealistic expectations, turning her into a one-dimensional character who gave step away and danced every day up steps. Mariah Carey is up next, one of the most renowned American singers with a Guinness Book record for a 5-octave vocal range, somehow does not know what an electricity bill is. During a 2009 interview special, the interviewer told Mariah Carey that his to-do list usually includes buy eggs and pay bill. In reply, she asked, pay who? Bill who? The host then responds by saying bill, like a bill, like the electricity bill. Carey's still not catching on, says, oh, you have to pay for that? The host hits back with, yeah, we don't get it for free. While one would imagine that Mariah Carey, can't make it any worse than this, she then says, in America, we get it for free. It ended with the host saying, you don't, maybe you just don't feel like the money is actually coming out of your account. Now, the snippet from the throwback interview has been going viral lately, with some people saying that they think she was joking around with the host, with one person said, I can't believe some of y'all don't understand sarcasm. She clearly is mocking him. While another person wrote, to be so stupidly rich and ignorant of the daily struggles. Next up, Larry King. While interviewing Danny Pudi in 2020, Larry King asked the community show star about the luxuries he can't live without. Danny said, coffee. I really like coffee. But King cuts the actor off saying, is that a luxury? You can get it anywhere. So Pudi brainstorms again before offering, I like nice socks. So King then says, socks that you put in your shoes? Surprised. And Pudi goes, yeah, I really love them. I kind of like, cozy feet. He says that in defense, and he continues to add, I'm attracted to really nice running socks. I'm always looking for a good pair of running socks. But King shuts down the actor again, saying that's not a luxury. Coffee and socks are not a luxury. Throwing in the towel, Danny asked King to give him a luxury that he should have, to which King then recommends a private plane. This is when Danny, who voiced Huey on the Disney TV series DuckTales, hilariously slams the notion that he'd be flying private. Looking baffled, he says to Larry King, "Larry, I'm on DuckTales. There's no private plane for me." This interview became so iconic and it was trending on social media with so many people praising Danny for just being so real and like so relatable. Jimmy Kimmel even had him on his show to discuss how he was becoming a meme, and since the interview with Larry, it's been going all over like wildfire on social media. People started selling shirts with the quote. He said even his neighbor dropped off coffee and socks at his door after they watched the clip. In 2010, Dina Lohan reportedly called the police at a Carvel ice cream store that refused to give her the cake she ordered for free when she tried to pay with her daughter Lindsay's Carvel Black card. She actually said to a news blog, "It just shows how we Lohans get treated so much worse than regular people." The Black card was a promotional gift that offered Lindsay free ice cream for like 75 years, but the employees confiscated it from her mother. In a statement, Carvel said, "Unfortunately, the Lohan family has been abusing the card. While the card was issued in Lindsay's name only, her extended family has repeatedly used the card without her present. At first, we graciously honored, their requests while explaining that the Black card was not a carte blanche for unlimited Carvel ice cream for the extended Lohan family and friends. After more than 6 months of numerous and large orders for ice cream, we finally had to cut off the card and take it back. The Black card was intended for Lindsay's use only and granted her free ice cream for 75 years. Dina really thought she was too good to pay for it, and she even made a comment to say, "Just wait until Lindsay and Allie hear about this," as if they would do something about it. Now, these Black cards were given out to like 75 celebrities to celebrate their 75th anniversary, and honestly, it was a great marketing move on the part of the company because, every time a celebrity is photographed going into one of their stores, it's just free publicity for them, right? Next up, Kendall Jenner. Now, her cucumber chopping skills in 2022 went absolutely viral. While many found her attempts to slice a cucumber funny, the fact that Kris Jenner offered the assistance of her personal chef for this simple task made them seem even more out of touch. Celebrities, they're just like us, right? Well, perhaps not when it comes to basic kitchen tasks. Or maybe cucumbers are just the one food item that Kendall Jenner finds impossible to chop, who knows? And speaking of the Kardashian Jenner gang, it's one thing to create a luxury brand, but another to inadvertently patronize, the very customers who want to buy from it. Khloe Kardashian's 2019 response to a fan who mentioned having to work multiple hours to afford one pair of jeans from her brand was both tone deaf and distasteful. The fan tweeted about struggling to afford a pair of jeans from Khloe's brand Good American. At the time, the garments ranged in price from roughly $99 to like $189. She tweeted, "So I realized I have to work 20 hours in order to just afford at Khloe Kardashian's jeans, and I'm in love with them, catch me picking up extra shifts." Khloe actually wrote back to her saying, "Oh, this is like so cute. I'm so happy you enjoy them." But this outraged several Twitter users, with one person saying someone had to work a stupid amount of hours to afford one pair of jeans. A millionaire thinks that's cute. That people have to calculate and think how many hours they have to work to afford little things. Another person said treating financial strain as cute, out of touch, doesn't even begin to cover it. Khloe might have genuinely been trying to connect with her fan and thank her for the purchase, but it could not have come off worse if she tried, honestly. To be honest, this whole video could be just about the Kardashian Jenners because there really is like a limitless amount of cringeworthy moments, but I'll give you one more. In 2018, Kim Kardashian faced well-deserved criticism for promoting appetite-suppressant lollipops on her Instagram. With many young, impressionable followers, this promotion wasn't just seen as irresponsible, but also a push towards unhealthy body image standards. She received immediate backlash, with one fan saying online, "This is disgusting. Your fans are going to be seeing this and thinking that this is how you get your body. Eating is good for you. Stop convincing people to literally starve themselves of food to get a flat tummy." Out of all her out-of-touch moments, the this surely takes the cake, or should I say lollipop. The only question is, will it become more famous than her diamond earrings in the pool moment? Now, celebrating Kim's 40th birthday, the family actually flew to a private island, spending literally millions on themselves and blatantly ignoring the struggles the world was going through. Perhaps some of that cash could have gone to better use. Yet another mention for the Kardashian family, and another clear indication of just how far removed this reality family really is from reality. Now, in 2021, Demi Lovato called out a frozen yogurt shop for offering sugar-free options, claiming it was triggering for people with eating disorders. While her intention may have been to raise awareness about mental health, the move was widely criticized as being out of touch, as many people prefer or need sugar-free options for various health reasons. The Los Angeles-based eatery, which opened in 1986, is known for having more than 400 distinctive flavors using live cultures and natural ingredients. The store, which has been dubbed LA's ultimate yogurt experience, prides itself on having no sugar added, fat-free, and dairy-free varieties. After she posted a story to her Instagram expressing her bad experience, the Big Chill reacted saying, "We carry items for diabetes, celiac disease, vegan, and of course have many indulgent items as well." The former Disney Channel star clapped back, sharing screenshots of their DMs, basically saying that the company wrote to the singer saying, "We are not diet vultures. We cater to all of our customers' needs for the past 36 years. We are sorry you found this offensive." Lovato then attacked the shop's lack of service, admitting that her time there was not pleasant. She wrote, "Not just that, your service was terrible, so rude. The whole experience was triggering and awful. You can carry things for other people while also caring for another percentage of your customers who struggle daily just to even step foot in your store. You can find a way to provide an inviting environment for all people with different needs, including eating disorders, one of the deadliest mental illnesses, only second to overdoses. So don't make excuses, just do better."
Now, J-Lo was supposed to go on tour this year, but it was cancelled. Now, the reason why she said it was cancelled and the truth were both very different things. J-Lo sent a special message to her fans via her On the J-Lo newsletter, telling them of canceling the tour. "I am completely heartsick and devastated about letting you down." She also said, "Please know that I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel it was absolutely necessary. I promise I will make it up to you and we'll all be together again. I love you all so much. Until next time." Now, representatives for Live Nation announced that the summer tour, This Is Me Live, was cancelled, saying in a statement, "Jennifer's taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends." Sources insisted that pulling the plug was not due to poor ticket sales, but rather for personal reasons and wanting to be with her kids. But this is simply not true. Now, J-Lo first announced her tour in the middle of February, initially as the This Is Me Now tour. A week later, 3 shows were added, but then the name of the tour was mysteriously rebranded in April. The tour's name had been changed from This Is Me Now to This Is Me Live, The Greatest Hits. It was cited that low ticket sales was a possible reason for emphasizing J-Lo's back catalog. Now, at the time, Variety reported the latest rebrand suggests a pivot from a tour focusing on the new album songs to one spanning her discography, a move that may entice listeners who didn't connect with her latest material. Now, not to mention, her new album debuted at a disappointing 38 on the Billboard 200. Now, in March, she raised eyebrows when she and her team decided to cancel 7 shows from her tour without any explanation. Then in June, it was announced that it was cancelled. Now, another reason besides low ticket sales could have been because she was going through a divorce with her then husband, Ben Affleck. She cited April 26 as the date of their separation, so it's likely that this had something to do with the cancellation as well. Now, between a divorce and poor ticket sales, I don't blame her for canceling the tour, but she should have been more open and honest about it with her fans. But here comes another lie. She is known for lip syncing. Yep, this so-called great performer doesn't even sing live while on stage. In November 2021, she was slammed by music fans for allegedly lip syncing during her American Music Awards performance, as she took the stage to carry out her brand new song, On My Way, Marry Me. An angry viewer ranted, "Come on with the overproduced singing, this sounds exactly like her live vocals just did." And a commenter pointed out, "Now why are you lip syncing? You have a great voice, just sing the song." Now this isn't the first time this has happened though, as in 2014 she was caught lip syncing her performance of I Love You Poppy on American Idol. And again, fans were not happy about this. Then in 2012, it was reported that she had a maid fired from her job, although J-Lo repeatedly denies it. Jennifer was staying at the Melia Dusseldorf in Germany, and a maid working at the hotel, Prey Doja, approached the diva's room to get an autograph. Now she spoke with J-Lo's assistant, who denied her to see the star. The next morning, Prey was fired. She said, "A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph." Now Jennifer and the hotel deny that she was fired for that reason, as the maid had allegedly barged into the room unannounced, and the singer's security immediately gave her the boot out of concern for the singer's safety. The hotel management has since assured J-Lo's people that no one was fired, but the maid company the hotel uses has relocated the maid in question to a different property. But I mean, who would lie about getting fired? It seems pretty convincing to me. "Come on, I thought you knew me better than this," Jennifer tweeted. "Would never get anyone fired over an autograph. First I heard of this was on Twitter," she said. But Prey has a different story. And let me just say, I believe in the maid because J-Lo is known to be pretty horrible to service workers. Now J-Lo had quite a year in 2024, and this year an interview she did with Movie Line in 1998 resurfaced, where she talked about other female actors. And let me just say, she was not saying nice things at all. On Oscar-nominated actress Salma Hayek, she said, "We're in two different realms. She's a sexy bombshell, and those are the kind of roles she does. I do all kinds of different things." Cameron Diaz was a lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities. "I just wish she would have done more with," she said. And Oscar winner Gwyneth Paltrow, she said, "I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard of her work." And for Madonna, well, when asked about Madonna's acting skills, J-Lo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, 'Oh, I can do that, I can act.' I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, after the interview was published, J-Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. She then later apologized profusely since then for her remarks, claiming that she was misquoted and so taken out of context. But which one is it? I think she's just trying to cover up her mean girlness, as people were calling her out. Now, she already suffered for what she said though, as Madonna had read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected. There was a New Year's Eve party hosted by Donatella Versace that year, which was attended by J-Lo, Madonna, and Christopher Saccone. Christopher explained that Ingrid Caceres, Madonna's close friend, ran into the courtyard during the celebration and shouted, "J-Lo is here and we're not talking to her." He said that everyone except for him and Donatella Versace gave Jennifer the cold shoulder, and honestly, I think she deserved it. And finally, we're moving on to the whole Super Bowl halftime show. Jennifer was frustrated with the organizers of the halftime show for giving her and Shakira the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, rather than doubling it for their performance. Now, for context, performers at the halftime show are usually given 12 to 16 minutes on stage. But it's not uncommon for multiple artists to share the stage for a performance of this time length. Now, one recent Super Bowl, for example, saw stars Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and 50 Cent, with each member only receiving a few minutes directly centered in the spotlight. However, J-Lo was clearly unhappy with the idea of her and Shakira dividing the time between them, telling her music director Kim Burse in her Netflix documentary, "We have 6 effing minutes. We have 30 seconds of a song, and if we take a minute, that's it. We've got 5 left. But there's going to be certain songs that we sing though. We have to have our singing defining moments, we have to sing our message, she said, before going on to label the entire thing the worst idea in the world. This is the worst idea in the world to have two people do the Super Bowl, she said. Now, while this is what it was like behind the scenes, to the whole world, JLo was acting all happy about sharing the stage. But as soon as her real feelings about the situation started to come out, fans called her out for her entitled attitude, arguing that regardless of the time constraints, she and Shakira were still able to put on an amazing performance. Now, it's crazy that she acted so happy to the public about all this when she was really feeling the opposite. I'm glad people called her out though, and I can't imagine how Shakira felt about all of this. Now, starting off, she is super controlling of her image, and her staff must make sure that she appears the way she wants to be portrayed at all times. Now, it said that Ariana reportedly approves all fan photos and that her staff must enforce this rule. But in 2014, when a fan won a contest to meet Ariana through MTV, things didn't go as they expected. Now, the father of the contest winners, Kelly, and her sister Jen, spoke out about their experience on a blog, and it was not flattering. Now, they had met Ariana once in 2011, but things had changed. The dad wrote of the experience. Jen, whom Ari had been so kind to in 2011, walked up and said, "Ari, here's a photo we took together in Vegas at the Titanic." Miss Grande glanced at the photo on Jen's phone and said, "Let's redo that picture." She said nothing else, so Jen retook the photo. Then Jen took out one of the drawings that won the contest for her. Kelly snapped a photo of her smiling little sister, giving Ariana the drawing. "Delete those pictures, please," was all Ariana said. "Can I just keep the one of my sister showing you the drawing?" asked Kel, and Ariana turned to her security and ordered, "Make sure she deleted those." Then Ariana Grande walked away from her prize-winning fans without even saying goodbye. The father went on to say that the MTV reps on scene seemed shocked by this, but did not know what to do. Now, that's such an unfortunate thing, but her wanting photos deleted may have to do with the fact that she only wants the left side of her face on camera. Yep, it seems like Ariana was a diva when it came to being on camera. Back in 2014, some of her photo shoots in Australia had been cancelled. Why? Well, it's alleged that Ariana's team had told photographer Chris Palvich to only shoot from the singer's left side and to use no natural light. But this wasn't what Chris envisioned, so Ariana apparently cancelled the shoot due to this. Now, according to a source, Ariana left the photo shoot after only a few minutes, claiming her outfit didn't photograph well in the images. Now, Ariana had also allegedly been checking each frame after it was taken and asking for shots she wasn't pleased with to be deleted. Now, Ariana denied this story during an interview in Australia, where she said it was just a photographer or something who got mad at me because I left to change my outfit mid-photo shoot because I didn't like my top. I was like, "Oh, I'll be right back," and then I came back and he had left. And then he came out and said all these ridiculous, untrue things about me, she continued. I was like, "That's not real, that's nonsense." And she then added, "My fans know who I am, my family knows who I am, my friends know who I am, and that's all that matters." But the angle of only getting her left side has been brought up multiple times, as also in 2014, TV personality and reporter Juliana Rancic claimed that Ariana was difficult to work with as she did an interview with her at the American Music Awards. She said that Ariana's team made her switch sides so Ariana could be filmed from her left side. She said, "She came up on the platform and normally I stand on this side, her left side, to the camera. I had to fight 13 years to get this side to the camera, it's my good side. But I fought 13 years for this, okay? Little Ariana comes over, I feel like bing, elbow in my side, and I'm like, what's going on? And they push me to the other side," she said. "I feel like where there is smoke, there is fire," alleging that Ariana's team bullied and elbowed her to change positions. "It was like you either get on the other side or we don't do an interview." Now, it seems like Ariana is really enforcing this rule. Now, Ariana Grande demands that her staff make sure she gets special treatment wherever she goes. Now, this is extremely prevalent when she goes to amusement parks. TikTok users who have previously worked at theme parks or know someone who did have posted story times of their experiences with the star, and they are not good. I know we're all livid with Ariana Grande because of this Ethan Slater nonsense, but just know that you and I or anyone else will never dislike her as much as the Disney guest relation cast members, said a woman named Teresa Jack on TikTok. If you happen to know any plaids, aka the people who escort the celebrities, they will tell you that Ariana Grande is is the rudest person that has ever graced the parks, Teresa shares. I can't tell you how many of them I've met that will not guide her around the parks anymore. Now, according to Teresa, Ariana not only cuts the line to rides, but also shuts down the entire ride so she could have the building and the ride all to herself. Apparently, these shutdowns can take up to hours, and guests who are already waiting in line are kicked off. That's not normal celebrity behavior, Teresa says. And hey, I agree. Now, another worker, this time at Universal Studios, shared her experience with the star as well. A girl named Riley previously worked at Universal as a scare actor during the Halloween Horror Nights. One year, while she was waiting for guests where the line was over an hour long and it was a sold-out event, people stopped coming in. Then, all of a sudden, a group of bodyguards, Ariana Grande, and her dog came through, Riley revealed in a video. Ariana was being super rude to the team members, she was demanding free food, she was pissed off because they'd have to clear the house, then let her walk through, and she was being impatient because there had to be time to clear the guests out of the park so she could have her own experience going into the houses. Now, another employee who worked at Halloween Horror Nights shared a similar experience, saying, "My friend worked Horror Nights and she came through touching stuff, and my friend told her to stop and she told her, 'Do you know who I am?'" One TikTok user commented. "I heard that one house refused her because of how long the line was and she got so angry," another user shared. Yeah, no, that is just messed up. Then there are certain topics that are off limits when it comes to Ariana, and one is Mariah Carey. While Ariana has said in the past that she takes it as a huge compliment being compared to Mariah, interviewers are instructed to not bring her up. Now, other topics off the table include her past relationships, her grandfather who passed away in 2014, or her time on Sam and Cat, and specifically about her former co-star Jennette McCurdy. Now, Ariana also really cares about her pets, and it's very important that her staff take care of them if she's unable to. Now, she has 9 dogs, and at one point she had a pig. Now, she loves them so much that she flies them with her on her private jet. In 2019, Ariana had been visiting Scotland for work and allegedly requested her dogs to be flown there as well. The dogs, who had been assigned their own room at the 2-bedroom apartment, were well looked after by a minder during their stay, a source told The Sun. As well as being offered personalized bone-shaped dog biscuits and furry bedding, they even got given tartan dog collars. Now, Ariana also makes sure that she has her own huge room when she's on set or backstage for events. While working on Nickelodeon's Victorious, she allegedly had the second largest dressing room after the main character, played by the actress Victoria Justice. But now that Ariana is a huge star, she demands the largest dressing room possible. Now, staff allegedly enter the room beforehand to make sure everything's perfect and stock it with food and drinks that she requires. Now, reportedly in 2014, Ariana turned a conference room into a dressing room for herself and demanded the hotel be cleared out before her arrival. According to an insider source, before she got here, she made security clear out the entire lobby. Even if you were a guest at the hotel, you had to clear out. No one could sit in the lobby, but she came in the back. She took up a unisex bathroom and put 2 bodyguards outside. Basically, 3,000 square feet of hotel space was hers, and you had to show your hotel key to get anywhere. Yeah, now that is just insane behavior and crazy demands. Now, starting off, JLo cannot keep a man, which is honestly really sad when you think about it, but she has a horrible relationship history. You see, JLo married Ojani Noah in February 1997, but their marriage was short-lived, as they divorced 11 months later. She then dated Diddy in 1999 after the pair met on the set of a music video, but they later split up in 2001. Then JLo and Chris Judd tied the knot in September 2001, but the couple's marriage was over by June 2002, and their divorce was finalized in 2003. This was then when she and Ben Affleck had their first engagement and then called it off in early 2004. JLo then married Mark Anthony in June 2004, welcoming twins Max and Emmy in February 2008. However, they announced their split in July 2011. Then, just 4 months after splitting from Anthony, JLo started dating her backup dancer Casper Smart in November 2011. Now, they dated on and off until 2016. She announced her engagement to Alex Rodriguez in March 2019 after more than 2 years of dating, but they called off the engagement in 2021. After this, she got back together with Ben, they got married, and then got divorced. Then at some point, or even at multiple points during this, it was rumored that she had something going on with Drake. like. Now, the common denominator in all these relationships is J-Lo, so I'm more inclined to think that she is the problem, and that's just a huge red flag. Then there's the fact that she bases her whole identity on being from the Bronx. But it's been proven time and time again that she over-exaggerated her time there, and that she doesn't even like it. Like in 2014, she was filming a documentary where she went outside her childhood home. While filming, the owner of the house came out and she explained to him that she used to live there. He asked who she was and she said Jennifer, and then she said Jennifer Lopez, and he still didn't know who she was, which is honestly just hilarious. Then, of course, she has her song Jenny from the Block, but it seems like people from the block don't really like Jenny. In 2002, it was reported that residents thought J-Lo exploited her roots to enhance her street image, but doesn't give anything back, even autographs. She's a phony, a fake, and she doesn't do anything for the block, said resident Michael O'Neill. She only comes here for her image. Yep, at this point, J-Lo showed up in the Bronx for an interview with Diane Sawyer. Now for the cameras, she visited places she used to frequent, but behind the scenes, her bodyguards were pushing away fans, leaving some in tears. She doesn't represent like Mariah and Nelly and Eminem, shouted Angelina Williams at the time. She won't come to our graduation or our dance marathon, she just says no. That's not right. Now one local said she got millions of dollars, she uses the school and hasn't donated a thing. She should be making a difference. Build an after-school program, donate computers, do something. Now, when J-Lo was asked if she gave to Bronx charities, an assistant in her publicist's office said, "I'm not sure whether that's information she does give out." Yikes. Then there was the fact that in 2011, J-Lo filmed a car commercial that was supposed to take place in the Bronx, but the ad backfired when it was reported that she never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad and that a body double stand-in was used instead. And I mean, if you watch the ad knowing all this information, it's pretty obvious. Now, one of the reasons why J-Lo might not be able to keep a man is the reported rules that she puts on them. In 2017, she made headlines when news broke that she was dating former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. Rumors later spread that J-Lo would only consider marrying A-Rod if he agreed to a list of demands. Reportedly, he was not allowed to talk to any women under the age of 40, and due to the fact that J-Lo loved his physique, she wanted a guarantee that he wouldn't let himself go once they got married. In addition to this, the singer insisted on a limit of 3 drinks for A-Rod when he was out of town, according to Us Weekly. And now J-Lo didn't just do this with A-Rod. According to OK Magazine, J-Lo reportedly put Ben on a strict diet and workout regimen since the two got back together. When they first started dating, Ben was up at 5 a.m. hitting the gym with J-Lo. He was a lot more conscious about looking like a guy who was worthy of dating Hollywood's biggest glamour gal, the source said, before revealing that J-Lo believed Ben was beginning to let himself go. She expects him to pick up the slack and wants him working out every day and eating right, no excuses, the source added at the time. Now, J-Lo has always been rude to others, whether it be fans, staff, or even other celebrities. Something that resurfaced last year was her interview she did with Movie Line in 1998. Now, this was at the beginning of her career, so I can't imagine what she'd say today. Now, she was talking about other stars and was just being straight up rude. On Salma Hayek, she said, in part, "It makes me laugh when she says she got offered Selena, which was an outright lie. If that's what she does to get herself publicity, then that's her thing." On Gwyneth Paltrow, she said, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." On Winona Ryder, she said, "I was never a big fan of hers. In Hollywood, she's revered. She gets nominated for Oscars, but I've never heard anyone in the public or among my friends say, 'Oh, I love her.'" And finally, on Madonna, she said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, 'Oh, I can do that, I can act.' I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Yeah, now this clearly upset a lot of people. And with the resurgence of this article, it might be the reason why no celebrities really wanted to make cameos in her new self-funded musical movie, This Is Me Now, a love story, that was released in early 2024. Now, alongside the film, Jen also released a documentary, and in the doc she talks about all the other celebrities celebrities she asked to be part of the film who declined. She says, "I don't want to force anyone who doesn't think that it's going to be fun to do this. Nobody wants to say no to me, I get that, but when an actor doesn't like a script or is worried about it, that's what they say. I know that, I've done that." Now later on we hear that Taylor Swift was a no, Jason Momoa was not available, Jennifer Coolidge was also not available, and Ariana Grande was also unavailable. Now she wanted Bad Bunny to make a little cameo, but he never did. Now there were some stars who said yes, like Jane Fonda, Keke Palmer, Fat Joe, Trevor Noah, Sofia Vergara, Post Malone, Kim Petras, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and obviously Ben Affleck. But still, that many celebrities turning her down is not a good look. I mean, J-Lo did come under fire last year after her appearance at the Met Gala. Anika Reed, senior news editor at USA Today, posted a TikTok 2 days after the event asking J-Lo who she was wearing. J-Lo responded with one word while looking the journalist up and down as she ascended the Met Gala staircase. Now a lot of people accused her of being rude, as some viewers believe that she spoke condescendingly to the editor. Now online, a woman named Emily Watford, who worked in an arena where J-Lo performed, said that J-Lo's niceness is so fake, disgusting. She said everything in her room had to be white, she made them close and sanitize the entire child playroom for only her kid or kids, whatever she has. That isn't bad. If you got the money to do it, then do it. She said, but what was bad was that a doorman looked at her and apparently she hates when staff look at her. So she started yelling at her, whoever about it, in front of the doorman like he wasn't there. He said so much for Jenny from the block, and well, she got him fired. Now, there was also a time where she got a maid fired from her job. Jennifer was staying at the Melia Dusseldorf in Germany, and a maid working at the Hotel Pré Doja approached the diva's room to get an autograph. She spoke with J-Lo's assistant, who denied her to see the star, and the next morning Pré was fired. Pré said, "A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph." Then there's the fact that J-Lo is known for being cheap. According to several of J-Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Pay Lo because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. Now this rumor has been going on for years, as way back in 2003, Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with her then boyfriend Ben Affleck, and the pair had a big win, and Ben decided to drop a $2,000 tip to the dealer, but before he could scoop up the generous reward, J-Lo snatched up the cash and swapped it for $200 instead.
If actor Katherine Heigl can brag about anything, it's a knack for drumming up boatloads of bad press. There are so many articles dedicated solely to expressing hatred for her. Hollywood insiders have accused her of creating difficult situations, and the story seems to check out. After working with the actor on Grey's Anatomy, Shonda Rhimes now uses Heigl as shorthand for troublesome talent. There are no Heigls in this situation, she told The Hollywood Reporter in 2014 while fondly describing the cast of Scandal. She went on to further say, "I don't put up with bullcrap or nasty people, I don't have time for it." Heigl's bad reputation stems largely from her decision to decline a second Emmy nomination for Grey's Anatomy in 2008. She released a wince-inducing public statement that claimed she simply wasn't given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination. Then the actress goes into overdrive saying, "In an effort to maintain the integrity of the Academy organization, I withdrew my name from contention." It was also reported that Heigl will occasionally disparage her own film, saying of the film Knocked Up, where she stars with Seth Rogen, that it was hard for her to love the movie. She acknowledged that she may have something of an image problem and she needs to get a little more settled in her own skin. There's also been so many reports of her on-set behavior. Many have said that she's just difficult and rude on set, including allegations of tardiness, moodiness, and even disagreements with directors and co-stars. Heigl, of course, has denied some of these incidents and has spoken publicly about the challenges of being a woman in Hollywood. Next up, we have Kanye West. Dissecting Kanye's arrogance could swallow your whole day, basically. Magazines like Time have dedicated entire features to cataloging the prolific exploits of his ego. Kanye has been involved in numerous controversies and incidents that have led many to perceive him as rude or egotistical, and there's so many moments to choose from, but the one I I know you know is coming is, of course, storming the stage at the 2009 MTV VMAs, when West interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech, grabbing the mic and shouting, "I'm sorry, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time." In 2015, West actually walked on stage again at the Grammys, this time as Beck accepted his award for Best Album, appearing to protest the decision. And let's not forget the time West abruptly paused his interview with Conan O'Brien because he had to use the bathroom really bad. In 2013, West engaged in a heated Twitter exchange with the late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel, who had spoofed West's interview with BBC Radio 1. West also has an ongoing feud with rapper and singer Drake, with the two of them engaging in a series of diss tracks. Kanye West had shown just how egotistical he really is when he compared himself to Steve Jobs and Michael Jackson. He declared himself as the greatest artist of all time, with more innovative genius in him than anyone else on the planet. That is like such a reach, my gosh. Another incident is when West used a wheelchair as a prop during a concert, which of course sparked criticism from disability advocates. So, while West's behavior has undoubtedly been polarizing, it is worth noting that he has also been praised for his artistry, entrepreneurial spirit, and social justice causes. If he could just tone his ego down a notch, that would be great.